2-for-1 check, splat, just like that. Bringing you tons of information, that's where he's at. He goes around town covering topics you'd like to know. Well, that's what you get when you tune in to the 2-for-1.
Thank you.
Fighting us in different ways every single day. Every victory that we earn and struggle for, they are going to react to that. So we have to do the day, and then we can get to the point where we built enough power that we don't have to be backs against the wall responding to them anymore. We're getting the close. So to speak a little bit more about what these organizing meetings mean, we have a teacher here organizing with the Colorado Education Association. So shout out to all the teachers that are probably here today.
When I say out, when I say ice, you say out. Ice! Out! Ice! Out! When I say Trump, you say out. Trump! Out! Trump! Out! When I say ice, you say fuera. Ice! Fuera! Ice! Fuera! When I say Trump, you say fuera. Trump! Fuera! Trump! Fuera! That's right, everyone. As Poncho said, my name is Eliza Lucero. I'm an organizer with the Colorado Education Association, and I am also an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. I'm here just like all of you because we are standing up for our immigrant communities that are under attack right now. And some of those attacks are very overt, right? We have hundreds and hundreds of deportations happening across this country. Trump has promised millions, and we have ICE agents coming and stealing our neighbors off of our streets and putting them in detention. So those attacks are very overt and in our faces. But I also want to talk about other ways in which immigrants are under attack right now. I'm sure many of you have heard about Trump's attempt right now to destroy the Department of Education. Have you heard of this? Yes, Trump and Linda McMahon, his education secretary, a woman who has no business talking about education or making any policy for education, are coming together right now in an attempt to destroy the Department of Education. And what that would do is that would take, it would do many things, but one thing that it would do is it would take billions of dollars out of public schools across this country. Public schools in this country, public schools are an immigrant rights issue. 91% of immigrant students in this country attend public schools. How many people here attended public school? A super majority of students in this country attend public schools. And if this funding at the federal level is cut, it is going to force states like our own, who already struggle so much to fully fund public education here, to make further cuts. And who is it that suffers when these cuts are made? What are the services that are cut? They are services to the most vulnerable of our student populations. They are cuts to disability services in our schools. They are cuts to ESL services in our schools. Right now, the law says that immigrant children have the right to have the same education that any other student in this country does. But what good is that right if we can't fund the programs that provide it?
Right.
And in our own state, these attacks are not just happening at a federal level. These attacks are also happening at a state level. Right now, our state government is considering changing the funding formula of how they distribute money to districts in our state. And I'm not going to get into all of the specifics of it, but I'm happy to talk afterwards with any of you that are curious. But essentially, what this will do is make it impossible to, in the long run, it cuts even more funding away from our public schools. So if we are losing federal funding and we are changing the funding formula at a state level that will take more and more funding out of our public schools, that we already cannot provide ESL services in our schools. We already don't have enough translators. We already cannot provide services to our newcomer students who are coming here for the first time. And those are the students that are going to be the most impacted by this funding cut. So, it is shameful, and it's shameful that Democrats at the Capitol right now in our state are framing this, they're not being honest about what this funding cut actually is. They're saying they're shifting money around to rural districts. This is actually an increase in public education funding, but in the long run, it guts our public education funding further so that we can push privatization and push charterization, just as Trump and Linda McMahon are doing. So educators across the state are coming together right now to fight back against these cuts, to fight for their immigrant students, to fight for our disabled students, and to fight for public education that we all rely on so critically. And part of that is part of the way that we build people power in this state, and we show the people in power that we don't approve, is by shutting things down. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So as my comrades up here before mentioned, we are holding these organizing meetings Monday nights at 6:30 so that we can come together, so that we can collectively study what's going on, so we can make sense of this madness that Trump is creating, and so that we can learn real organizing skills so that we can build a movement that shuts shit down. Isn't that right? So this Monday, we're going to be teaching at our organizing meeting how to organize a walkout, because that is what it takes to make change in this country. We saw in 2006 what happened when educators, when business owners, when students, when families all across this country walked out, shut down the economy for a day, and a day without immigrants. And that is how we won sweeping immigration reforms like DACA. So we know there's going to come a time in the near future when we need to walk out too. But those things don't happen spontaneously. Those things happen because we organize them. So come to the meeting this Monday. Let's learn how to organize our own walkout, and let's build this immigrant movement to be as strong as it needs to be to take down Trump and Linda McMahon and Tom Homan and all of these evil people that are coming for all of our rights. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Eliza, everybody! No. Oh no. It doesn't matter, I have a pretty loud voice, I hope you can hear me. Well, I guess I don't need it anyways. This next chant, we need to be loud. Shout out to yourselves because the crowd is getting a little bit bigger and bigger. But this next chant is in Spanish, and we want the families that are walking in there to see their loved ones to relay the message. We want the prisoners in there to potentially hear us. We want the workers in there to feel the shame and the force of the people out here that despite the weather came out. So, el pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Give it up for yourselves, everybody. As Eliza was mentioning, we have history as a guide. And we know what happens when we organize and we understand our enemies, and we are building the power that we need to transform the society. And before our next speaker comes up, I want to mention that we are not alone out here in Denver. They are not alone. Nationally, we are seeing walkouts organically organized by students. We are seeing protests like this that despite their own weather conditions across the nation, people keep showing up to. We are seeing people like yourselves coming out and demonstrating that nothing's going to stop us from standing with our immigrant brothers and sisters. So our next speaker can speak very well to the point of what it takes to build a movement. This next speaker, we're so honored to have because it's the first socialist candidate in a century to win over 100,000 votes. She's the national director of the IFCO Pastors for Peace, a longtime organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Please give it up for Claudia de la Cruz.
Stand up like that!
Workers' rights are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up like that!
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like that!
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up like
I
that!
said, what do we do?
Stand up like that!
What do we do?
Stand up like that!
What do we do?
Stand up like that!
See, that's the spirit. There's certain things we have to let it be known that we're going to fight back. Historic moments of repression and oppression have always led our people to historic moments of resistance. We are in a historic moment of resistance. Trump and his billionaire mafia, because that's the biggest gang right now that is looting the federal government. Those are the criminals. They want to shock us with over 100 executive orders, with a month that feels like a decade, but they must not know who we are. They must not know how clear we are. We have a lineage of struggle and resistance that we will not let go of. And we're here to make it clear on who the real criminals are. It's important to say this. I stand here as a daughter of immigrants, the proud daughter of immigrants. And my mama taught me that America is a continent, not a country. Therefore, every single body that is detained in that facility is an American citizen. America is a continent that goes from Canada all the way to the Patagonia. The United States of America is a single country in the American continent. What gives them the authority to police, to brutalize, and terrorize the rest of the region, the rest of the world? My parents did not wake up one day and said, we just want to go and travel to the U.S. and make a life there. My parents came to the United States because the United States of America made it impossible for them to be able to live in their homeland. And that is the reality of the majority of people across the globe. People migrate following the traces of the things that have been stolen from them. They have the right to be here. And if we want to talk about immigrants, everyone who is not a native indigenous person has immigrant blood. They either came here forcefully through slavery, they either came here to serve the colonizers, or they came here to colonize. I want to say to our immigrant community that we need to stand confidently on our own 2 feet and with our backbone straight. There is no shame in our coming to this country. Everything that the United States of America has built has been on the backs of people who have been exploited. Whether it was through genocide and colonization, or slavery, or their neoliberal politics. We have to be clear on The attacks on immigrants was something that was started a long time ago, decades ago. And just for the purpose of not going so back in history, we could start with Bill Clinton. We could start with Bill Clinton and say that he paved the way for Republicans. And we could go on and say, Mr. Obama, son of immigrants, the porter-in-chief,
Speak on it.
paved the way for Donald Trump.
Speak on it.
It was Obama and it was Biden that built the cages that locked babies in the border. And they did not do it for the safety of the people in the U.S. They did not do it for the protection of anything else than the capitalists in this country. The people that profit daily from the suffering of our people. Because the border, such as these detention facilities, are businesses. Each and everybody that is captured like animals, dehumanized, and brought into these facilities is money in the pocket of billionaires. The GEO group connected to this facility in 2020 reported revenues of $2.35 billion. Do you remember what was happening in 2020?
Yeah.
It was the same year that Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk quadrupled their wealth. On the backs of people who were dying and workers who were losing living life in those warehouses in the Amazon company. So they want to tell us that the folks that come here to work, that contribute to the GDP of this country, billions of dollars every year, and do not get to reap the benefits of Social Security or Medicaid are the enemy. We need to make it clear that the real enemy is on Wall Street. There's a reason why they try to dismember our history. There's a reason why they don't want us to learn about slavery or the civil rights movement or the queer movement or women's rights movement. That is our fucking power. That is what lives in our blood. And if we allow them to take that, then they will take the lives of our babies. And I don't know how many of you are willing to let your babies go, but I'm not. So I'll ask you, are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to organize? Are you ready to advocate? Are you ready to mobilize? Let's do this shit then.
Give it up for Noya! These criminals have the gall to talk about illegals when they're the ones that are picking up people illegally in courthouses. These people have no shame and they dare call us criminals when they're invading our countries and destabilizing them in the first place through their terrorist acts, through their terrorist economy that only knows pillaging, violence, and suffering. Before we go on a march, they can hear us in there. There is no concrete wall that will prevent our message from being heard inside those walls.
That's right.
I have a family member in there right now. It will give me no greater pleasure than to know and get the call tomorrow that they heard us out here today. It gives my family no greater honor than to know that you're all willing to stand out here in the freezing cold to send a clear message that not only are they welcome here, but they built this country. They earned their right to stay here. And we're not going anywhere, are we?
No!
How could we leave somewhere that we've built, that we've been crossing for centuries? My grandfather was telling me just the other day how it's so re-energizing to see the movement growing again. He had tears in his eyes when he described seeing the images, and he's in Mexico right now. The images that he's seeing across these borders of all the young people walking out of their schools, of all the people like you, the diverse working class that's ready to build power, not willing to take this bullshit from either of the political parties anymore. So let's keep this energy up. It's not just about thoughts and prayers, it's organizing, and we're gonna go march and make sure that they hear us in there. Make sure that they know that they're not standing alone, that they have rights, that we're here to fight with them, that they are our moral compass, that they are the spear to our organization, because we will not abandon our prisoners to these fascist institutions. Who's ready to march and make sure that they're hearing us? Let's get it going then, everybody. Everybody stand behind the truck or walk behind the truck, and let's keep this energy up.
Let's go.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Everybody should fill in behind the banners.
Oh, you're a veteran too, huh?
Yes, sir. Thank you for your service.
Same here.
I was 2004. Oh, thank you.
Immigrant
baby.
It doesn't come out. It's harder to find nowadays, you know?
We got courage. How about you?
It's 2-for-1 Jack, splat, just like that. Bringing you tons of information, that's where he's at. He goes around town covering topics you'd like to know. Well, that's what you get when you tune in to the 2-for-1 Jack Show.